Welcome to the Landscaping Podcast. My name is Joel Barnett and I'm your host. And in today's episode, I'm talking with Brent Phipps from Byron Bay Ranga. Brent runs a design, construction, and maintenance company, not surprisingly, in Byron Bay. And I absolutely loved having a chat with him. So the episode is what I look for when I'm listening to podcasts, to balance between education and entertainment. So he's been in business for 11 years, so he's got plenty of advice to share, as well as having 18 employees. But he's also a lot of fun to talk to. So it's a good balance of both in this chat. And he had a great start in the industry by working for Mike Cass Creative. So it's important who people work for when they first start out. And Mike did everything within landscape construction. So it was a perfect place for him to start. And Brent mentions he's got a couple of business advisors who he's used over the years and how invaluable they've been, particularly if you're looking to scale. So he mentioned that if you're looking to scale, you need to pay for the advice. And he also declares his love of spreadsheets in this chat. So, like I said, plenty of great bits of advice to learn. So hopefully you enjoy this chat with Brent Phipps. Brent, thank you for joining us on the Landscaping Podcast. My first question for you is, how did you start in the industry?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joel. I first started when I was about 15, back in Castle Hill. My sister's partner, actually, a really good mentor of mine who still working with, called Mike Cass Creative. He gave me my first job. I was working in servos before that. And yeah, he was like, why don't you come work for me? So I did, and, fell in love with the trade. I started on with him and, worked for about probably 12 months and then wanted to do an apprenticeship. So did that. And then I think it was about 2 or 3 years through that, nearly three. That's when parents wanted to move to Byron. So, I didn't want to, at the beginning, but did that and then came to Byron. And funny enough, being a Ranger, I wanted to get out of the sun. So for that transition period, I actually worked at a local servo called Aussiego. And in that time, I went back to TAFE, got my qualification and stayed at the servo. But in that time, I guess I had a lot of opportunity to meet a lot of the key local community members within Byron. And by the time I kind of, started my own business, my friend who actually owned the servo lost his lease. I had a lot of good contacts. So I was really thankful for that experience, because I was stacking chips and cleaning toilets for a long time thinking, what the hell am I doing? But it was a godsend, to be honest. So yeah, initially was like, I just started to do a bit of garden maintenance. And then, yeah, I guess the opportunities came with construction. And then, yeah, slowly got into construction again. And then, I had an opportunity to buy a business called Gecko Landscape Solutions. So yeah, I was kind of hesitant at the beginning. I guess what really attracted me to the business was a guy called Sandy Bigford, who's actually still working for us to this day, which is cool. But I really wanted to know how to do high-end landscaping. And I knew that took time and you had to really chop wood and carry water to get to that point. But, I wanted a mentor in that. So bought the business off Sandy, but I was really buying him. And yeah, went through, the high-end construction and learnt firsthand off him and what he did and the procedures, and basically created a hybrid of my own systems and yeah, how I did things. So yeah, that's how I kind of started in the industry, and then just from there we just kind of kept expanding.
So how long have you been like doing your maintenance stuff for yourself before you bought the business?
So that would have been about 3 years, 3 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. There was opportunities to do, construction earlier on, but it was more or less like it was backbreaking, and I got some really good gigs on the maintenance game in Byron, all through Wattigos and hinterland properties and really high end maintenance. So I was really content on that. But as I was expanding in the industry, I guess that construction was just a no-brainer, for that. So yeah, no, it was a pretty interesting journey.
And what sort of stuff was Mike doing when you started for him?
Mike was doing, oh mate, heaps, like lots of paving, crazy pave, walls, decks, pergolas, big plant outs, lots of irrigation. Yeah, he had a pretty diverse set of skills and teams. So, and it was good to learn that off him because, coming to Byron, there's a lack of, I guess, fast-paced professional trades. It's changed now, like we spoke about, but it really taught me to have a good gear and look out for detail in that. So it's paid dividends right now on where we are.
So what we spoke about before we started recording was there's a lot of people from like Melbourne and Sydney moving to Byron Bay in the last sort of 4 years.
Mm.
So has that been also has the quality of work gone up, coincided with that?
Yeah, it has. I think there's more money being brought into the area, but I think obviously they scattered out of the cities, and when we want the both the lifestyles, beach, hinterland, the slower pace. But there's just so much money in the area, and I think that what I've noticed is that a lot of businesses are going under, unfortunately, whether or not it's in the trade industry or not. But it's for me, I kind of look at it and go, I think a lot of local landscapers and trades are freaking out. But to be honest, I think they've been doing things the wrong way for too long. The surf's up, they're out. They're late, they're too cruisy. Oh, I'll get to that later. That sort of stuff. Where being brought up in Sydney, there just wasn't. You just don't have that. If you're late, see you later. So I think the local trades are kind of panicking. I don't think you really should look at it that way. I think it's a great opportunity to leverage your business and get better. And if you're solidified and you're confident in what you do, then you shouldn't be worrying about anyone. You stay in your lane. And I'm a big believer in that. So yeah, Byron's rapidly changing. Not everyone agrees with the direction it's going, but for me, I want to be a part of that change and have an impact on it. So I'm here for good, or for the time being anyway.
And was Gecko Landscapes doing high end stuff to start with, and that's it? That's what
They
attracted you to them?
were, yeah. They were pretty much a top dog in the game. It would have been about 8 years ago now, 8, 9 years ago. So they were doing really high end builds, up $1 million budgets and really high end stuff. And he was jam packed with work. And to get to that level, it takes time, and you got to know what you're doing. So I thought, why not learn off the best and invest in that, and do like the student mentor thing. So yeah, it was good.
And what was the transition like for that? Because I imagine, because it sounds, I don't know the population of Byron Bay, but it sounds like it's a small, like everyone would know everyone there. So
Yeah,
everyone would have
yeah.
known Standy as part of Gecko, and then you took it over. So how did that transition go?
Looking back on it now, I probably would have done it a lot different. I was fresh into business at that point. The transition at the time went well. Hindsight's a beautiful thing, but look, overall, I think it was. If anything, we probably didn't charge enough. And the systems that are in place probably weren't as well, definitely weren't as thorough as what we're doing now. But overall, it's about an 18-month process that I had him within the business. So yeah, definitely no regrets. I think we tackled a lot of great jobs, learned a lot of great things together, and it's just another feather in my cap to be where I am now. So yeah, no, it was really good.
And in Sandy still got contacts of people who are wanting to get work done by him. So you guys do that? But that's still coming in?
Not as much, no. Like, you know, I think there's probably five probably landscapers that are sharing market share at the moment within town. We're definitely one of them, but no, I wouldn't say inquiries coming through from Gecko. We amalgamated the brands, so initially it was like Gecko and then Ranga, and then it was just not making sense. So we brought them together and had it all under one umbrella. So yeah, I think that it kind of phased out. It was phasing out. He had that much work that he didn't have to market or anything like that. So yeah, it was just a matter of time until that kind of transition phased.
And how many staff did you have at the time?
Mate, I would have had probably eight, I
Oh,
reckon.
really?
Probably eight. Yeah, I started pretty quick. I learned pretty quickly that it's a brutal trade physically, and I wanted help with that. I think it's definitely a young man's game, as you know, and over the years, it's pretty brutal on your body. So yeah, I started with 8 and then we kind of crawled. We had a point there where I had some time off I told you my mum had cancer and died. So that was a big point. I hadn't really dealt with a death in a business. I don't think anyone really is equipped for that. I had some experience in the death industry because I kind of studied a bit with it, but on a business standpoint, I didn't really have any experience with a big centerpiece. My mum was like behind marketing and development of the business and whatnot. So I had a bit of time off there to adjust to that transition. But coming back from that, I pretty much had to start again in a way, because I was very different as a person. And yeah, I guess that I had to correct my mistakes from what I didn't, when that was happening. So it took a bit of time to get back from that, but once I did, I was firing all four cylinders again.
All right. And
Yeah.
then did you have, because I know Sandy worked for you then and now, but did he have any employees that came across as well?
No, no, no. I had the crew that I wanted. He had a couple of guys leave, and it was it was just mainly him and some contacts and some systems and all that. So yeah, no staff that came across.
Yeah. And were you doing any marketing to start off with, or was it just the contacts you'd made when you first went over there?
Yeah, it's funny that job because I did a little bit, but I think that I was kind of already in the higher market with maintenance. And then I had an opportunity to kind of we landscaped a property out in Coopers, and they all talk to each other. So that person talking to that person, and eventually they once you do a good job for someone, you get highly recommended. But in terms of marketing, I think word of mouth is a strong source of that. But we're doing obviously got the website up and some social platforms and all that. But back then it wasn't, Instagram wasn't a huge presence as it is now. So yeah, but look, we're always focusing on marketing. I think marketing's a key part in business growth. It really is.
What sort of techniques are you using now?
Techniques now with marketing we are focusing a lot on Instagram and the Facebook platform, doing a lot of SEO work on the website and whatnot. I think that I'm a big believer in creating relationships, really solidified relationships. I think that that's going to take you further than anything else. So I really, in terms of marketing, I really focus on key relationships within my community, and I guess just doing the right thing, like turning up, working hard, delivering quality, being really clear on your values in your business, your expectations with your staff, and just keep chopping water, chopping wood, carrying water, and keep going forward. And I think that's the key to, well, small towns is, everyone knows. If I was in a bigger town, maybe the market strategy would change, but
Yeah.
overall, everyone knows everyone here. And if you got red hair and you're pasty, call the Ranga, then that's even easier.
So is that the business name, Byron Bay Ranga?
It is, yes, it is, which is hilarious. And how it started when I worked at Aussie Go, I everyone came in and said, "Oh, you're Ranga, you're the Ranga, blah blah blah," and it's kind of started from that. And then I was at a dinner table with my sister and family. She's like, "Oh, why don't you call it Byron Bay Ranga?" And everyone's just started shitting themselves and just laughing. And then kind of went silent. Next conversation, I'm like, actually, that's a really good name. No one's like, no, you can't call it that. That's the most unprofessional thing I've heard. And then I don't know, it just stuck. Like I just want to have fun with things and feel good about what I'm doing. So that's that was important to me. So I left it, and there was a couple of times I was thinking about changing, but mate, yeah, I'm gonna stay with it. So
Yeah, like it's at the end of the day, it's your reputation is more important than your name. But that's something I would have been thinking about when you're trying to get into the high end market, and then your landscaping company's called Byron Bay Ranga.
totally,
It sort of
totally. I
goes
had
against each other.
yeah, I had a lot of conflicting thoughts, Joel.
Yeah.
But I think going back to quality and how you present to yourself, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
You know, like you call yourself anything really, and you start kicking ass at what you do, then they're going to get you back, regardless if you're brunette Byron Bay, blonde Byron Bay, Ranga Byron Bay, whatever. You know, it's gonna work eventually.
Yep, I would be Byron Bay salt and pepper.
No, you would be Byron Bay salt and pepper. Mate, what are you talking about? You're a Ranga. You already told me you're a Ranga.
I do have a, yeah. They're sort of they're gone grey, but I used to have a tinge of ginger in my beer in my
Yeah,
beard.
yeah,
So,
yeah. No, no more beer for you.
so how many staff have you got now?
We got what do we got now? We got 18. 18 now.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So it's we've done it slowly. We've done it. It probably sounds like we've done it quick, but we're going on 11 years of being in business, and I guess I wouldn't be scaling without advice. I think that if anyone's listening now, I know you've talked about it a bit, but if you are going to scale, you need to pay for good advice, and it's too risky to stuff up. That was the kind of the trend that was happening with me, and I think that a lot of people could probably relate to this. Is that you make a mistake and then correct it, make a mistake and correct it, and it's just too risky at a big size. There's too much money on the line and reputation, and you're putting your whole life into a brand. We live and breathe this, Joel. So you wanna make sure you're safeguarding your systems, your brand, your reputation, and yourself.
Yeah, it's one thing to take risks and make it up as you go, but when you lose it, like if it's just you and one other person or something small, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, when you got 17 other people to worry about, there's
Mm.
those mistakes can be costly.
Yeah, yeah, it can, and it's I guess for me, it's also about I don't know if work-life balance is actually true, because anyone that's in the game that's extremely passionate about it, we're thinking about it late at night, and it's kind of what lights us up. But just on a standpoint of stress, having high levels of cortisol going through your body, you want to have, if you're the only owner of your business, you want to have a sounding board, you want to have strategies, you want to have a plan on how to move forward, and then also a plan on how to alleviate that stress, because it does kill people, and it's quite serious.
Mm.
So, and then you throw in you're out in the elements and it's physical labor. Holy bloody shit, Joel! It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid job to do when you
Yeah,
think about
yeah, right.
it.
Absolutely,
I'm stuck in it now, so just keep going.
mate. Well, it looks like you're doing great things. This podcast, I tell you what, it's best in the country for sure.
Yeah, it's official in
Um,
the world actually.
in the world, let's just
Yep.
promote it in the world. You've done a fantastic job there, and you've got a great business. So
Well, that's a lie. That's just you
it,
don't know what someone's business is like unless you see on the inside of it.
under the hood, yeah. Well,
Yep.
I heard you talk about that a couple of times. You don't want anyone looking under the hood, but I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, like everything looks all fancy and shiny on Instagram, but you
Yeah.
never know. Like businesses that go broke, you don't sort of say, "Oh, they've been looking like they've been going to go broke for the last 6 months." Usually, just sort of it just happens, and you don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Instagram's kind of a false illusion of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, the photos you put up there look pretty fancy. So, do you get some the professional stuff done for that?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think that's definitely something to consider if you're a business owner. iPhones definitely work, high grade iPhones or whatever it is, the latest model, but getting someone in with professional photography pays its weight in gold. So, yeah, we do that. We definitely do that, and we haven't been doing it forever though, so we've definitely noticed a change in the quality, and that's what people are after, aren't they? They look on these pictures and go, "Oh yeah, that looks sexy. Let's get him."
Yeah.
So you've definitely got to refine every area of your business. If you've got photography for taking pictures of your landscape, your systems equally have to be that good. So it's a never-ending process, isn't it, Joel?
Mm.
Business and all this. We're wearing many hats.
Yep, and always learning if you're wanting to keep improving.
Totally. Forever a white belt.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. That's a good one. Going to use that.
Forever an orange belt.
That's still not black, so that still counts. Always
Yeah,
learning.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it, mate.
So have you got a business coach, or have you've used one in the past?
I do. Yeah, I don't use a business coach. I use two guys, Tim and Matt from the Advisory Collective. And yeah, like I was kind of on the fence with business coaches. I feel like they promise the world and under deliver. I'd hate to pigeonhole them, but it's hard not to when you pick up your phone every day and there's someone promising you six figures if you follow this step-by-step process. I think the biggest difference is that an advisor will drag you through the process and teach you the steps, not go, here's a $10,000 plan that you're going to give me, go for it. These are the steps. Like it takes a bit of time. So yeah, I've been working with Matt and Tim for now probably 5 years now, and never look back. We're working week to week with each other
All right.
on all aspects of the business, from when we get an inquiry through to turning into a sale, to all our recruitment strategies, how we're dealing with staff, team culture, systems behind the scenes. It's a lot. Once you open it up, you've either got to fix it all and continue to innovate and scale, or you just stay where you are. So yeah, they've been amazing, really amazing.
What's their background?
Matt is a lot of law and risk assessment. Tim's business development, marketing, recruitment. Yeah, they're really good. They're like the yin and the yang,
Mm.
where Tim's the dreamer and going, okay, we can go here, that, and that. And then Matt's like, well, these are the risks associated with that dream. So he brings us down to earth a bit. But they make a really great team. They're really strong on accounting too, bookkeeping. And they've got they have a collective of people they use. So yeah, I think as when you're in business by yourself, it can be a lonely game, So to have a sounding board that's not your wife, my wife doesn't want to hear all that sort of stuff. It's really important. It's really important to say, hey, this is the idea I have. This is how I'm going to get there. What do you reckon? And like, yeah, that's great. What about this, this, and this? So yeah, it's small steps are bigger.
Yeah. So how was it through COVID with that many? I don't know if you had the same amount, but you would have had quite a few staff. And
Mate,
was it helpful having them as well, like the mentors?
yeah, so I had them just as COVID started. So what happened? Yeah, mum died, COVID hit, and then I lost a lot of my staff because work was booming, right? It was crazy in Byron. Like any Joe Blow could get work. So they were like, they gave me enough note, they gave me a month's notice, but a lot of my guys left. So I went down to three.
Yeah,
I think it
right.
was three from 10 to three, right? And it was a real eye opener for me, because I felt like I've been through a lot in business, but to rebuild that was huge. So yeah, they kind of left, and then I had to start from the ground up. They came a knocking eventually when work dried up, but I had the pieces of the puzzle together by that point. But yeah, no, I got Tim and Matt on around COVID, and there was a lot of mistakes to correct, but what great opportunities to learn. And I think that once you embody a mistake, you shouldn't really make it again, and it gives you a great way to navigate your internal world and business and your life. Like just experience is a huge bit of success, I feel.
Yep. And with the 18 staff, what's the breakup in terms of maintenance and construction, and do you have any design as well?
Yeah, yeah. So there's like seven, we've got one in-house designer. We use Mike Cass for a lot of our big projects in terms of designs. And then we've got basically 10 on the maintenance. Yeah. So yeah, the maintenance team's probably just a bit larger. And then we've got a bookkeeper actually, bookkeeper and an admin staff too, to help with all the invoicing and inquiries and all that. So yeah.
And what hats do you wear?
Mate, good question. All of them. No, not all of them. Look, I find, a lot of my role is to, I guess the biggest part of my role is to keep the culture clean. And obviously there's a lot behind that, but a lot of behavioral management, within the team. I feel like, you've got to. For me, what's kind of worked is that you've got to have your business values. I think where people go wrong is that they have their values, but they need to attach expectations to those values, because I feel like as humans, you've got to work out how people learn. So a lot of people learn differently. So I think that if you can be really, transparent, and you show your staff, these are the values, these are the expectations that attach to those values, it's kind of hard to stuff up from that point, and it becomes less personal. It makes it easier to get rid of people, and it's easier to hone in on people that you want. So yeah, and apart from that, then obviously, getting more work in, and then lots of site visits, creating relationships within the community, looking at ways we can become better as a team, and more innovative practices, better systems. I've got a real passion for business. Business and nature is my two biggest passions, and they're quite different, but they have a lot of similarities actually in how they work. So you look, I feel like when you're scaling, there's lots of hats. It's endless. Someday you got to put a hat on and going back on the tools. The other day, the other time you put in your accounting hat on. The other day you put in, your leads hat and generate more sales. It's never ending.
Have you got like a schedule that you aim to do, like 3 days here, 1 day here, 1 day here, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So Monday is usually a mixed day for me. Tuesday's a lot of like site visits, checking up on properties. Wednesday's quoting. Thursday's my people day. And then Fridays are more around finance and overseeing, what's going on in the back end. So you've got to not multitask. People can become very inefficient when they're doing three things at once.
Mm.
And I think that if you can section it down and doing one task for the next 2 hours, and then have a roll-on effect from that, you become a lot more efficient. I think where you get stuck is as soon as you juggle too many balls, you walk out of one day and go, God, I did a lot, but did I really?
That's
You know?
exactly what I do. I have too many things on at the same time. Like I'm trying
Mm,
to do, like trying to please too many people and quote this and organize that. And you
yeah,
end up, yeah, spend a day working in the office. And then at the end of the day, you've still got the same list of things you've got to get through because you kind of did a little bit of 5% of everything, which
yeah, yeah.
adds up to nothing.
That's right. And you got to be discerning with your energy. That
Mm,
takes a lot of energy to hold that. You're running a business, you're dealing with people, and you're doing three other things at once. It's just you fry yourself.
yeah.
You're already fried. So yeah, I think simplifying the process and taking it slow is a benefit for all business owners.
And Byron is a perfect place to be doing that, isn't it?
Mate, you can go too slow in Byron. My God, some people are going backwards and I think they're going forwards. That's like, holy shit, mate. You're not going forward, you're actually walking backwards. Um, but you're right. Byron's a perfect example of going slow. Very, very cruisy here. I've always been told to slow down and all that, but it's just the way I move.
Is it getting sort of quicker now that all the city slickers are coming in?
I think it is. Yeah, they're definitely upping the quality and the standard, and how they're doing their work. But a lot of people are gravitating toward Byron for personal development. They just seem to like, it's like a going toward a magnet. They just end up here. They start to do what they do in Byron. It's a pretty cool place to be, but it gets a lot of people there that amount of times that I've nearly hit someone driving because they're just looking at the sky walking across the road is is nuts, or not indicating and all that. But like I try not to have judgment on that, and it probably sounds bad, but Byron is a beautiful place. It has an amazing community, and there's a reason why we're all here. And regardless if you have judgment on it, I think that we're here to be slower, and to have some sort of break from the day-to-day grind. So it's a really special and unique place. It really is.
Yeah, it's good for everyone to sort of have a sort of take a couple of steps back and look at what you're doing, and seeing and realizing that you might be working at a million miles an hour,
Yeah.
and it's because when you're in it, it's harder to do that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but then if you sort of sit back and self-reflect, you can realize that you can change the way you're doing things and actually you'll end up healthier from it.
Yeah. And there's so many different people here, like from all walks of life. That's what I love about it too. There's so many different cultures and people, and yeah, it's really amazing. So, mate, you just got to get up here. So don't worry about Noosa or Cairns. Just come straight to Byron. The Rang will look after you. All
Okay.
right. Pick you up in the truck, and we'll take you for a tour.
All right. I'll leave shortly.
Go on, I'll hold you to it.
All right. Um, now you've put me off a question.
That's all right.
Well, I had one. Give me a sec.
I got one for you. What's the shirt you're wearing?
This is my work shirt, so that shows you how organized I am. I
Okay.
just I need to get home by a certain time, so
Yeah.
I got home and I'll turn this on within 2 minutes. So that's I just walk straight upstairs, turn it on, ready to
Yeah.
go. There's
Mate.
no time wasted.
Look, if you're talented at something, you can get away with that, Joel.
Or I just work. I mean, I'm one of those people who are working a million miles an hour and I need to relax and
Yeah.
not do as much. But there's times where you got to go flat out, and times when you can work a bit cruisier.
Yeah, that's right. And how's your body feeling with being in the industry this long, like doing physical labor and all that? How
It
you feel?
really, it's surprisingly well because before I went to the bank and had my spell from landscaping, like when I decided I was going to leave, I then hurt my back. I got a bulged disc in my back,
Oh
and I got
wow.
that sorted out through acupuncture.
Yeah.
But then since I've been back in, I haven't had a problem at all. And I should have a problem because I'm overweight and doing physical labor. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's got the muscles in the right spot that I'm lucky basically.
Yeah. Great.
What
Great.
about you?
My body, how
Yeah,
how is it?
yeah.
It's better. It's better now that I'm off the tools. Absolutely. Yeah, like knee stuff, back stuff. You've got to. Yeah, you've got to get some apprentices on. You know. But yeah, you need help. You need help in it because you're not 20 forever.
Yeah.
And lifting Besser blocks and stone and soil and mulch, and it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. It's the most underestimated trade, I think. Underappreciated, sorry. I think because we do so much.
Mm. Yeah, you need to have to do it all. You need to have a lot of skills.
Oh mate,
Have,
absolutely.
have you got like machinery that helps with that?
Yeah, we've got some machinery. So on the maintenance side, we've got a few ride-ons, big ride-ons. We've got a small 1.8 excavator, and then I've got a 1.6 ton posi, like a stand behind posi track for me. Yeah, I
What
wasn't
model's
going to get
that?
one. Sorry,
Is that the
like a big dingo.
GTX 160? Is it?
GTX 925. I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah.
sure.
Yep, 925. Yep.
925. Yeah, it's a bigger one, but yeah, mate, I wasn't going to get one, and then I ended up demoing one and thinking, oh my god, these are so handy in tight spaces. So
Yeah, that's
uh,
what we've used. We use 90% of the time, but the high place have just gone to the Wacker Newson one.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, right. And have you thought about investing in one or?
Yeah, I got a quote for one, and that was enough to make me stop thinking about investing in one. So
You're like, oh shit, 90 grand or
yeah,
100
it
grand or
was.
something.
I wanted the biggest one, which is I think it was I think it's
160.
like I think it might be CTX 160 or something like that.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
a Vermeer, but it's bigger than the 925
yeah,
because I
they're
wanted to
huge.
get forks for it, so you can lift up a ton
Yeah,
with it as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
But yeah, I think it was 110 with a trailer. Well,
yeah. It's
that's a lot of money.
it's a lot of money, isn't it? And
For
you've got
yeah,
to.
a Bobcat's like half the price.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It depends. Like bobcats, they're good and bad. I think with all the Krasnozem soil we're dealing with up here, like the red volcanic soil, it's like getting bogged a real thing. So, but yeah, it's hard. You've got to work out how to model that into your business.
Yep.
You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to buy it because I've got 4 months worth of work. Like there has to be a strategy behind that.
So did anyone teach you how to work out your hourly rate and that sort of thing? Is that what did you?
Initially,
Yeah.
initially, oh look, to be honest, initially I was just thought I'd just go the most expensive because no one else was doing it. and I saw the quality around. That was like mainly in the maintenance game. But yeah, like initially I didn't. No. What, like now it's all factored in, all our overheads and
Yep.
non-billable hours and how to do it. But initially, no, I just, kind of saw the top dog in the game in guard maintenance going, okay, that's what he's charging, and I'll just put a little bit more on. Yeah, so no, no, not much strategy back then, Joel. Not much. Just a lot of ambition and wanting to prove myself.
So how did you learn to do that sort of stuff?
Good question. I think you quickly know if you're making money or not, and I think that I'm always a big thinker, so obviously understanding where your money's going, what it's doing. But really, when I started to refine it was when I started getting help through Tim and Matt. That was that. I fell in love with spreadsheets. I never thought I'd say that, but I have. I'm in love with a spreadsheet, and I think you've got to know you can't assume. If you're assuming you're going to come last, so you've really got to put all your eggs in one basket with it and work backward from that point. But yeah, yeah. So definitely have to work that one out if you haven't already.
Yeah, I've been giving people advice on that recently about, if they ask for one bit of advice, I'll tell them to work out how much, like what they need to charge and, where they're making money. Because like those people who are going out of business now, when everything's going well, it doesn't matter if you know how much you need to charge because
Right.
money's just flying in. But then
Yeah.
when things get tighter, that's when when there's, things costing you more than you think, the mistakes start to magnify. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, if you don't know how much you need to be charging, that's where you're going to get in strife.
Yeah. That's right. That's absolutely right. You got to know how to make money.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and
and
knowing where it's going to as well.
where it's going and how. Yeah, it's super important that it's a great bit of advice. That's for sure.
Do you do anything to like for team morale, like have team dinners or anything like that throughout the year?
Yeah, we do. We do. We do, our monthly barbecues. We do, a lot of the team leaders will go out for dinner. We'll, do golfing days. We always have an intention to do more, but yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I think a big one is like in a group setting, you want to get people talking. You want to get them contributing to the team environment, and sometimes that takes a lot of courage to step into that because not everyone's they want to talk in front of everyone, but getting them involved, whether it's talking about projects or our maintenance run or how can we become better, or Jesus, it could be as simple as what you're grateful for. But I think voicing stuff and playing witness to people's very, very strong, and it allows you to grow. So yeah, we focus heavily on that, and getting people growing within our company is really important.
Yeah, I reckon doing them regularly as well is a good idea because someone's more likely to open up in that situation because they might feel nervous about talking about something, so they won't say anything. But then they'll think, "Oh, next time I'll say it." Whereas if you're
Yeah,
just doing it every 6 months, they'll won't
never
remember
say.
or completely forget, or it'll be too late. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good
So
doing it regularly.
we have one every week. Have one every week, and we alternate between a whole team meeting and an apprentice meeting. But yeah, the expectation is that number one, what's really important for me is that if you want to grow on a personal standpoint, and then if you want to grow within the business, I'm not really interested in short term rentals. But having that intention within a business, I think is unique, especially with people coming from toxic backgrounds and bosses that usually just yell, swear, or throw a hammer at them or something like that. So it takes a lot of time to get people over that hump. But once you do, because as a business owner, I'm really interested in everyone's opinion, whether or not you're a 17-year-old apprentice or you've got 20 years under your belt doing structural landscaping. So you'd be surprised that when you create that culture and that safety, and people can actually go, "Oh, this is what I've been thinking about." You're like, "Damn, that's a really good idea," you know. So yeah, I value that. I really do.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I got surprised with that one day. I had an apprentice who he ended up not lasting more than 2 weeks,
Yeah.
but he had an idea that I'd never thought of before, and
Right.
I loved the idea. Like it was a really good one. So I was disappointed he didn't want to continue on, but yeah, the more people you can get thinking about something, the better and more unique result you can get.
Yeah, yeah. I think as soon as you underestimate people and go, oh, you pigeonhole and go, you're just an apprentice, then, or you're just that person, then you're limiting yourself.
Hmm.
You want to keep growing. So yeah, cultivating that within your business is real positive.
Yeah, and it's something I haven't never done enough, but I love the idea of it. Is asking you, like, finding out what your employees want to get out of work, like whether
Mm,
they want to end up in a management role or if they are just happy to being a labourer the whole time.
mm.
So that because you don't want to try and force someone into something that they're not wanting to do,
That's
so you can
right.
sort of work with them so you're both on the same page.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree, Joel, completely.
Like being the size you are with 18 staff, like do you sort of just if someone comes along looking to wanting to work for you, you'll make a spot for them if they're the right person, or do you sort of are you sort of just actively looking for people when you want them?
Look, I'm always hiring. I think it's crazy not to always hire, and it doesn't mean like I'm trying to scale unsustainably or anything like that. But you just never know who's going to be coming knocking on your door. Look, I always hire attitude over skill every day of the week. I don't care if you can construct the Taj Mahal. I don't care if you can construct the Harbour Bridge. If you're hard to work with, then that's just going to be a plague, So I'm big for attitude, and I think that goes a long way. So I think if someone crossed my path that had the right set of values and had a great attitude, then I think I'd be crazy to slip that up, because right now there's a war on resources, and there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world and within our communities and in the country that you'd be crazy not to snap them up, unless obviously there was science not to. But yeah, definitely. And if you have red hair and pasty, you're instantly in, whack
Yeah.
straight in.
Have you got a few rangers on your team?
Mate, yes, I do. I got three. So two of my team leaders, Reese and Jackson.
That's what
Yeah.
that's my son's name, Reese Jackson. That's weird.
Oh, really? No
Yeah,
way.
he doesn't have
Yeah,
red hair though,
awesome.
so
Yeah, so I've got three. I got one apprentice with red hair, and two of my leaders have got red hair too. Well, red in their beard, so it's enough.
and is that why they got their leadership role?
Absolutely. I said, look, you guys can just go straight to the top. Don't worry about anyone else. This is how we run things. Here's the 50 plus SBF. Here's your Rashi. Go get it. No, no, I joke about that a lot. I actually put an ad in the paper. This is years ago in Byron, going looking for I forget what it was worded, looking for rangers or something like that. And holy shit, it was turned to crap because everyone thought I was discriminating. And I was like, I'm clearly joking. Like, come on, guys, come on. But no, it's a pretty funny thing. I get a lot of people always asking that. You're going to hire a ranger and all that. So always
Yeah,
open to it.
it'd be a good icebreaker too when you go to meet a client for the first time, I
Yeah,
assume.
it's even better when they got red hair.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It could bring you work.
it could for the right hair color. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not really. I guess when you're looking from an outside in, I don't know. Tell me your experience when you actually looked at Byron Bay Ranga. Were you like, oh, what's that? Or what
Uh,
you think?
yeah, I didn't assume it was the business name for sure,
Okay.
but yeah, I just thought it was a fun looking. I like the logo as well. Like the
Yeah.
yeah, like it just looks fun. So it looks like it works for Byron Bay.
Yeah. Great. Fantastic.
But I'm not a high end client, so I don't know what they think.
Yeah,
I'm a lower socioeconomic kind of.
mate. What are you talking about? You're a pioneer in this industry. Jesus, you're
Sitting in front
killing
of a fake garden.
it.
Actually, just
I
sitting
know.
in a closet.
You're in a closet by
No,
yourself.
no studio. Yeah, no studio here.
Oh,
Uh,
mate, you gotta start somewhere.
yeah, yeah. It's only been 3 years that I've been doing this, so it's baby steps.
Yeah, mate. You're
I'm
doing
doing that slow.
Mate, you're doing it well. I've listened to a lot of your podcasts, and I think it's really created a great platform to people to learn off. It's just really fantastic, and I thought you got into it at a really great time as well. But the amount of value I've pulled from your podcast is incredible. Like, I'm always on them, looking forward to the next episode coming out, because it's just about, number one, connection with people is massive. You learn so much off it, but there's always something to learn. So should definitely be proud of yourself, buddy.
Oh, I don't like compliments, so I'm going to edit that out. So.
Take it out. That's right. Yeah, what to say then? Yeah, yeah.
So with your mentors, do you have any goal setting? Like, have you got like a 5-year goal that you head towards or anything like that?
Yeah, we do. We definitely don't want to get too carried away with going too far out. I think having 18 to 24 months is good. You know, there are goals in 5 years' time, but we're not really honing in on them. There's a lot of steps prior to that to get to it. And I think that, I guess you could overwhelm yourself quite easily. If I think, oh, 5 years, that's where I want to be, I think, oh my God, that's just a lot to think about. So, like I said before, small steps are bigger, but we definitely plan, yeah, at least, 12 to 18, 24 months in advance on what that looks like. So that's
Yeah, and
really
I think
important.
like you touched on it then, a good thing to do when you are setting goals is to set steps to reach those goals. So not just saying this is what I want to get or this is where I want to get to, but you're actually saying this is what I want to get to and this is how I'm going to do it. So then you can, even though it's in 12, 24 months, these are the things you want to tick off every 6 months.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. You need to know how to get there.
Mm. Yeah.
And if you're someone like me, you need to be dragged through the mud. Like that's why getting an advisor on is key because you got to learn every aspect of your business. If someone, if the not that it will happen, but if a bookkeeper drops off or something like that, and I had to pick it up for a day, you've got to know how to do it. Or if your lead landscaper's dropped off for a day or something like that, 2 weeks, and something's happened, you've got to go on site. You've got to know how to play that position. So you've got to know every position. That kind of safeguards your business.
What's your design skills like? Because I know I don't know how to use Vectorworks, and that's what my landscape architect uses for programs. So
Yeah, yeah,
if she wasn't there and someone said, "Can you send me this plan?" I thought, "Nah, I've got no
yeah.
idea what to do."
I'd probably struggle with that. I'd probably have to offshore it very quickly. But they're definitely getting refined. I think that with design, I feel like with a lot of things that there's always room to grow, and no matter how good you get, if you ever think that you're the king of the hill, king of the mountain, you kind of stopped. So I always want to be keeping learning on it. But yeah, look, I'd probably have to offshore if someone
Yeah,
couldn't work AutoCAD and all that. So,
yeah.
but
Last question for you, Brent. Who do you think would be a good guest to have on the podcast?
good guess. So I'll give you two. I think Tim from the Advisory Collective would be really handy, and I think that a lot of people would gain a lot of value out of that on a business standpoint. I think it would be really fantastic to get him on. And then the second one would be Mitch Collins from Seed and Sown Landscapes in Lennox Head. Mitch is a fantastic structural landscaper, and he's doing fantastic things down there. So, yeah, those are my two picks.
Awesome. Well, I know it was a very fun chat. So thank you very much for coming on and sharing your story and being a great guest for the Rangers.
Mate, my pleasure, Joel. Thanks for having me, mate. Really appreciate it.